Hey Hustleaholics, this is Heartland Hustles coming to you from the world famous Heartland Hustles home office. Wanted to just thank everybody for joining us and really appreciated everybody that has watched the videos. Again, I'm still trying to get my YouTube channel up and on, off the ground. So I wanted to share with you today about two boat motors that I was able to buy, purchase, fix, and then was ultimately able to sell for a little bit of profit. So here we go. I'll start with the first motor. The first motor is the Mercury Mariner that was on my boat. So last fall, so here's the story. So last fall, I'd been looking for a motor for my boat for about 6 months, and I really wasn't finding what I was looking for. So I ended up just posting a Facebook out there in search of an outboard motor, Mercury based, because I had Mercury controls, either a Mariner, a Force, or a Mercury, obviously, 40 to 70 horsepower motor. Waited and waited and waited, and finally I got a hit probably in January on that ad that made sense to me. There was a gentleman that had a 50 horsepower Mariner, not very far, a couple hours from me, not very far from me, that was selling it relatively cheap. So he showed me that it had good compression. I went down and looked at the motor, ended up purchasing it, which was a very good deal. Only paid $200 for it, which was a great deal. Brought that motor back up, took it to my buddy's house, to the shop that he works at. So we went through the motor and got new spark plugs, new wires. It did need a stator, so we needed spark, and we did a fuel pump, and we did the carb cleaners, and then we did an impeller and those things. So it turned out I probably had $500, maybe $600 into that motor at that point. So I've left that ad up. And just in case somebody else, because again, I want to flip motors, flip boats, washers, dryers, tools, all that kind of stuff. So I've left that ad up. So I ended up finding, or somebody else reached out to me about a 40 horsepower Force motor that had very low hours on it, that had been on a pontoon that had been stationary on a lake for a long time. And he said, "Hey, I just need to get rid of it. Are you interested?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm interested." So ended up going to look at that motor. We put it on a stand. Hey, Hustleaholics, welcome back. So here's Heartland Hustle here. So here is our new and latest and greatest hustle. So I picked this motor up about 2 weeks ago from a gentleman and got a call for it. And he reached out to me and said, "Hey, I got this 40 horsepower outboard and I'm interested in selling it." Gave me a price. Went over and checked the spark in it. Had 140, or not the spark, had to check the compression. Had 140 PSI in each cylinder. Had very strong spark, but didn't have the controls. So I've been fiddling with it a little bit. One of my friends, the guy who bought the first boat, the free boat, actually had the controls for it. So we did a little horse trading. He is on his way here, and we're gonna try to hook this up and see if we can get this motor to at least crank over. So that's our next goal. So paid $180 for the motor. Probably another 80 or so for the controls. So I'm into it for what, 240-ish, something like that, 250. So we'll see how it kind of goes. I guess that's 260 actually. So we'll see how it kind of goes. Hopefully we can get it started, at least to crank over. And then we can get it to crank over. My goal is to, take the carbs and clean it out and blow it out and hook some gas to it and see what it'll do. Check back in a few minutes. So I got the controls. As soon as I hooked up the controls and put gas to it, that motor started right away. It jumped off and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." So, okay, so probably been out here a little over an hour. My friend showed up. He brought me the wiring harness and the controls. We got it all hooked up. We got it all hooked up except for, this is for the power trim. And I gotta make the junctions to these over here, to these two. But we hooked it up, it worked, it went up and down, no issues. They're just the wrong ends, so I gotta splice into that and tie them into that. But before it would not turn over. So here, this stuff here, people are walking by. So doing this in my garage, obviously. So So I was worried about the starter and not being strong enough, and it just had to do with the connection. So I got it hooked up to the battery, got a battery charger on it, and here we go. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Sorry about that. But there it goes. So now it cranks. So now I am going to splice those wires in, get all that put back together, and then I'm going to run and get some gas and see if it won't start tonight. We'll see if I have enough time to do all that. But that's my plan. I'm going to try to splice these in to those. I think I have the right connections, hopefully. And just kind of go from there. The only thing that motor had that I ended up doing is it didn't have the right connections for the trim. It had power trim as well. So I ended up hooking up the controls, the power trim up and down, which worked phenomenally. Okay, so I know it's not the prettiest, but I just wanted to test it. So I just cut some wires just so I could see if it would go up and down. And I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this one-handed. You guys can hear it going up and down. So I just got to splice those together, got to get the right ends. I'll probably do that tomorrow. Get the right butt ends. I don't have the right ones here with me, so probably get the right ones in and get it going from there. And then that's the time that I went in and had my shoulder done. So I decided that I was just going to sell the motor as is. It still needed a water pump and it still needed an impeller. I need to be cleaned up in those kind of things, and you'll see the motor here in a minute or two, and you'll see what I mean, that it needed to be cleaned up. It had a lot of, corrosion, not corrosion, the white stuff, crustaceans on it, those kind of things. So, and I didn't get a chance to do that. When he came, so I posted the motor out and decided to sell that motor, and I decided to sell the 50 off my boat when I got the 70 horse off the $250 boat. If you're interested, there's another video that talks about a $250 boat. So I ended up moving that motor off my boat. I put the 70 on my boat, so I have a 50 horsepower Mariner and a 40 horsepower Force for sale. Had a guy hit me up about the Mariner and said, hey, I'm interested in your Mariner. So we talked through that. And he said, you also have a 40 horsepower Force, correct? And I said, yes. He said, what kind of package deal can we make on those? And I said, we can do $1,600 on both of those motors. And he said, done deal. Sent me a deposit. So then I had to take my motor off my boat, the 50 horse. I had to bring the 40 horsepower up to my buddy's shop. And I sold both of those motors for $1,600. So I think I had $600 into mine. We'll call $250 on the other one, so $850. So I almost doubled my money on those two motors. And I got a 70 horsepower that's a bigger motor, amazing motor that's on my boat now today, which we actually took that out on the 4th of July, me and the wife and the two daughters. And I pulled the daughters around in a lake for 4 hours, and that motor ran extremely well all day, no issues, no hiccups, any of those kind of things. So I'm very, very happy with that. So yay. I also have a video of the 50 horsepower running that I'll post here in a second or two. But that one was just, when we were cruising the lake, we were in a no wake zone. I just have it going so you can see all that kind of stuff. And I'll send pictures, show pictures and those kind of things. But what I would say is just keep hustling. Just keep looking for deals. I know these sound like great deals and those kind of things, but it does take a lot of work. It takes a lot of internet, a lot of conversations, a lot of people saying, no, I'm not interested, those kind of things. But the ones that you can find, like the $250 boat, and then I have another video coming up about another boat that's been a tremendous deal. Even the free boat was amazing. So there's going to be other deals coming up here. Just keep hustling, just keep looking. There's deals to be had out there if you're willing to put in the time and effort and make some good profit on those things. So what I also would say is I really am trying to grow my channel. So I really appreciate all the views that I've gotten so far. Would love a like and a subscribe and a thumbs up, letting me know that I'm doing things well. And if there's things that you want me to focus on or ask questions about, I am all ears. I really, truly want to build this. And the only way I know how to do that is through comments and connections and those kind of things. So if there's anything out there that I can do or help or answer, I am definitely willing to do that. So keep up the hustle. Love this week's video. Keep doing what you do. Talk to you later.